So there's hundreds of credit cards in the market, and this specific one, it's understood that it is the easiest sign-up bonus to hit, where with just one swipe, you're gonna get immense value. The American Airlines Red Aviator Mastercard by Barclays Bank, you're looking at a 60,000 mile bonus after your first swipe. And although it comes with a $99 annual fee, there are other perks and benefits to offset this if it's applicable for your situation, and we'll get into that shortly. And simply put, 60,000 miles, we're talking around $600 in value at kind of average or minimum you should be getting. And depending on how you have your redemptions, whether that's business class, first class, or international, you could be looking at a lot more value. I've personally had this card for some time, so how we'll do this is I'll cover everything you need to know about it first, followed by my personal analysis. With that, let's get straight into it. The Red Aviator MasterCard at the time of recording, the sign-up bonus does differ. It's been 50,000 points prior. At the current time of recording, it's 60K, and I have seen times where it's been 70,000 miles. The 60,000 mile sign-up bonus, you're going to be eligible to get it after your first transaction. So it could be as little as a penny, and you're eligible to get it. There is one caveat of needing to pay the annual fee in full of $99, yet I think that's pretty straightforward for such a heavy sign-up bonus offer. From an earn rate perspective, we're looking at 2x American airline miles earned per dollar spent with American Airlines, and 1x everywhere else. Super straightforward. Coming to the perks and benefits for this card, we're looking at your first check bag for free. And this is specifically for the primary card holder and up to 4 companions. The small caveat being that you all need to travel on the same reservation. We also get no foreign transaction fees, which is generally expected with the travel card, especially an airlines card, that too, which has an annual fee. We also get up to $25 for Wi-Fi on American Airlines operated flights. And on the same American Airlines operated flights, we're looking at 25% off food and beverage that's purchased. Similar to the first check bag free benefit, you and up to 4 companions on the same reservation also get preferred boarding. And right before I get into my personal analysis, there's something known as the Anniversary Companion Certificate. Each and every anniversary year, we're able to earn a companion certificate where you're basically able to fly with someone for $99 plus taxes and fees. The eligibility for this is essentially spending a minimum of $20,000 in that year period, and also your account being active for 45 days after the fact. And super quick, if it mattered to you, you also get 0% APR for 15 months. And with that, let's keep it going. So I've had this card for a few years now, and I can tell you straight to the point, my experience based on it, it's pretty phenomenal. And at the same time, is it worth keeping it after the bonus, which is pretty phenomenal? So the first part, very obvious. You get the bonus, great value, 60,000 miles. It depends when we're applying for this card. So at the time of recording, it's 60. Prior, it's been 50,000. And we've also seen 70,000 miles offered. And if you're on the plane, I have seen like a plus 5,000. So for example, instead of 50, you may get 55,000 in terms of an offer. And instead of 60, it's 65,000 miles. So if you can wait to kind of go on the plane, at the same time, if you're not waiting to get on a plane, you can go ahead and apply for it. The way I got my bonus, I just did one purchase. It was a case of water back in the day. And of course, the other stipulation of the bonus is you do need to pay a $99 annual fee, which I think is a no-brainer, of course. If you're getting at least 1 penny per point, which is very easy with American Airlines, even on your economy kind of redemptions domestically within the US, you're basically trading $99 for $600 in value. It's basically a no-brainer. I don't think I need to go any deeper in this. So I'll touch on the second point, which is where I also got extreme value over the years. It's essentially the free check bag that we're getting with this card, and not just for one person, it's for multiple people on your reservation. Why this matters is if you're a family, for example, or in my situation, I was flying with a bunch of friends where, hey guys, let's make the booking on my card where everyone under that reservation basically gets that free check bag. Now, why that really mattered in my specific scenario is I had folks that were coming in internationally for an event I was arranging, and these guys definitely had a check bag. They weren't just flying internationally with just a simple backpack. And so when they were going, or rather I was basically escorting them state to state as we were having different events in different venues. And that's a part of, a different venture I was a part of. In that time, this free check bag was basically quote unquote priceless because it was one less thing we needed a budget for to pay for, said bag. Or think like, oh man, if we got to transport, 3 other folks, they got a check bag. Nowadays check bag prices are going up. Back then maybe it was $25 to my memory. Now let's say it's $30 or $35 on different airlines, or even more, of course, like Spirit, Frontier don't count in this example. So point of that story being, just think about it, right? Each one way, 3 people, if it's $30, that's like $90. So if you say roughly $100, 2 ways, that's $200. And so this kind of feature / benefit, without an American Airlines card, it's really tough. And, assume these other folks don't have status and all these things. That's extreme value for that $99 annual fee in the long-term running cost. If you just fly, let's say, 2 times, 60 bucks one way with checked bags in terms of your fees. 60 times 2 is 120, so then you're coming above that annual fee. So everyone's going to be different, and if you have a family of 4 or even, family of 3, it's definitely going to make sense, all else equal, generally speaking, instead of stuffing all your stuff into one bag, and y'all get to have your own bag for basically free by having this card. Moving on to the companion certificate, I'm going to be real, right? So if you spend $20,000 to get a companion fare for 99 bucks plus taxes and fees, simply put, what does that really mean? If you're spending $20,000, right, and let's say, your flight costs $199 in general, but you can get that companion fare for 99 bucks. So you're basically saving 100 bucks. And if you do the math, what is 100 bucks divided by $20,000 of spend, assuming that's like the minimum threshold? Well, $100 divided by 2,000 is 5%. So $100, when you look at $20,000, is 0.5%. And why that matters is, let's say we're getting 1x American Airlines miles earned per each and every dollar spent. If you spend $20,000, then we're getting basically 20,000 miles on that non-categorical spend, assuming we're not spending with American Airlines in general, keeping the example simple. In the end, you're getting an extra half penny per point, which, that's nice. But is it worth chasing to do this? I really don't think so, because you might as well put that extra spend that you would have done anyways, unless you're looking to accumulate American Airline miles in this way, or you have some type of big expense coming up, or you're like, okay, screw it, let me just do it this way, or you have some other type of strategy, right? So simply put, if you're getting an extra 0.5%, you can do that with just spending on any other card and getting even 2% cash back if you don't value American Airline miles as much. Or a different way to put it is, instead of looking at that extra 0.5% bonus for 20K a spend, you could, let's say, and it's just like a side example, there's cards where basically, hey, if you spend, example, like a Hilton Surpass, hey, spend $15,000, you get a free night credit. And right there, that value could be way more than that savings of, let's say, a $200 flight, you save 100 bucks by doing this method. Or if it's a $500 flight, sure, you're getting it for $99, so you save $400. So if you look at that savings, $400 divided by $20,000, you are getting an extra 2% blended on each and every purchase, assuming that's how much you spend on the card. So all of this to say in simple maths is, it could be worth it. Would I chase it? I don't even recommend anyone chase it, because I don't really think it's worth it in that manner. It's really a cherry on top, to be frank. This brings us to the next point of the earn rate, where you're getting 2x American Airline miles per dollar spent with American Airlines. But what that really means is, if you question yourself, hey, how else do we get American Airlines? Like, how do we earn them basically on credit cards? At the specific time of recording, basically there's no real transfer partner to get points, let's say, from a credit card and then transfer it over to American Airlines. Bilt had American Airlines as a transfer partner. That's no longer the case, and this has been the case at the time of recording for a hot second here. At the same time, unless you're spending on, let's say, Citi cards, which are Citi AAdvantage cards, you're earning American Airline miles similar to this Barclays card. There's not really a card you can just transfer out. Now, don't get me wrong, you can always earn British Airways with a load of different issuers, and since British Airways and American Airlines are partners, you can book American Airline flights through British Airways' portal using their miles and structure. But in the end, that's going on a roundabout way. There's no guarantee. Sometimes it's not going to be really worth it, or most times it can be, right? Don't get me wrong. But one-to-one mapping for American Airlines, earning their miles and redeeming it this way, it's going to be tougher than not. From there, we got a couple in-flight kind of benefits. The first perk is going to be the fact that you're getting that $25, hey, Wi-Fi credit when you're in the plane. And I think that's cool. I don't think it's bad, but you're paying $99 for an annual fee, and if that's the only benefit you're really getting, then it's really not worth it. So it's kind of like a cherry on top. The second part of that is going to be the fact that you're buying, let's say, beverages, food, what have you, right, in the plane. And so you're going to get 25% off your purchases. Now, again, it's the same difference, right? Unless you're consistently buying, let's say, whatever, 20 bucks worth of stuff, and you're saving, let's say, 5 bucks each and every time, where the prices are already inflated because you're in an airplane, then what is that, like 5 times, 20 times to break even on the $99 annual fee? Again, if this is a very specific scenario of you trying to break even in this manner. But let's look at it another way, right? Let's say, all right, hey, $99 annual fee, after the bonus, we have 25 bucks for Wi-Fi. Let's say, all right, that's 25 bucks back. Now, whether or not we value it at the full credit amount is a different story, but just, for our example, that's 25 bucks. Let's say we spend, 50 bucks, just put it out there, right? So 50 bucks, 25% of 50 bucks is 12 and a half bucks. So 12 and a half plus your $25 credit, so 37 and a half bucks, back to you. And let's say you travel a couple times, 2 times, just yourself without even anyone, for having a check bag. So $60 right there. So 60 plus 37.5, 97.5, basically 99. So you kind of break even. But in the end of the day, to be very honest, let's be real. It's a good card for the bonus. It is a great card. It's a fantastic card. But in the longer term, it's really going to depend on the individual. And I have no other way to put it other than really it's going to be that check bag benefit that I really think is great. And the final part is this. It is a World Elite MasterCard. There are benefits with World Elite MasterCards. This is not the only one that exists. If you compare, your Visa line of cards, in general, we have like example, Visa, like when you look at your card, it's like Visa with no subtitle. Then let's say you have a Visa Signature, Visa Preferred, Visa Infinite. And with Visa Infinite, like the Capital One Venture X, you have specific benefits at that tier of Visa cards, which are astronomically beneficial if you're able to take advantage of them. And so similarly, the World Elite MasterCard also has certain advantages. And so, again, do you need to pay an annual fee to have a World Elite MasterCard? No. If you have the Built MasterCard by Wells Fargo, that also is a World Elite MasterCard and has a ton of benefits without even needing to pay an annual fee. So the net, in the longest way to put it, even after I go through all of these benefits, I think it really comes up to the individual. And so with that, I don't think there's much more to say other than this card is great for the first year. And for the second, third, fourth, fifth year, as long as you're using that benefit and assuming none of the Citi AAdvantage cards really make sense for you or otherwise, or if you compare both, you can get both for the bonus. That's up to the individual. But in the longer term, this card is, for lack of a better term, a good way to get it so that you have history with Barclays Bank is the strategy I would personally consider. And then after that, I would say, hey, you're in the door and you can apply for other Barclays card. But just because you get this card and then you cancel and try to get something else, they're super strict with just how they are in general for whatever reason. And so that's kind of my 2 cents if you're looking at this like, hey, let me get it, let me get the bonus. And there's other Barclays cards which are amazing, and let me do that for the bonus. I wouldn't suggest going down that route. I would definitely, understand and, play the game appropriately. And the final thing that comes to mind before we end it up here is basically that companion certificate I was talking about. Basically that you do need to pay the second annual fee, like for the second year. So that's one more reason of like, is it really worth it or not? It's really going to come down to you. So with that, if you came this far, thanks for coming to the end, and I'll see you soon enough. Peace for now.